So we've swapped sides, haven't we?
Yeah.
What would you like to know?
I think we should just let you get on with it because you're pretty good at leading the stage and leading the audience yourself. So you have a gift.
Well, I will say this, and it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do. Typically, you don't have either. It's completely on your own, and everybody has that moment where they get up on a stage, or they have a mic in front of their face, or not, and everyone goes. And you're on, and it's like staring at a cursor on the blinking white screen. You're like, oh God, now what? And I think I wrestled with that for the longest time, and I think I did that not only on the stage. Let me tell you a story. I was still in high school, so I was probably 17 years old, and there was a big Hollywood scout that was coming to our little town of Plano, Texas. Known primarily throughout the world for its heroin problem, but it's because it's full of nothing but rich kids and parents who don't care about them. So, at least when I was growing up. So, it's at like a little shopping mall or whatever, and I go in and I do my bit for this guy, and everybody gets like 3 minutes on stage. You can sing, you can dance, you can act, you can do whatever you want. But whatever you do, it was before American Idol, before X Factor, Voice, anything like it. It was just like talent show, go. And then one by one, you go back and you would sit kind of in a room like this, and the guy would come up to you. And this is the guy that discovered, again, I'm going to turn to everybody who's probably over 30 or 40 and go, oh, that's cool. People like Ricky Schroeder and Manuel Lewis and all the kids actors of the 80s. And so this was a dude. It was a legit dude. And he would come up to you, and he would say, turn to the left, turn to the right, smile for me. You having a good day? Very good. That was your meeting with this guy. And he did that to everybody. And then he would come back with a clipboard, and he would go, okay, Melissa. And he would look at, there was a girl that was to the left of me, and he was like, Melissa, you're beautiful, very, very talented, can't use you. And then he would skip over to the next person, and I watched this girl next to me go, because she knew, excuse me, I'm a pretty big deal. And he went to like 2 other people, and he came back and he goes, it really bothered you that I said no to you. No one's ever said no to you before, have they? She goes, no. And he looked at her friend, he was like, Stephanie, this is your friend, right? She goes, yeah. He goes, what do you think? Do you think I should take her? He goes, yeah, I think you should. Okay, because of her, you're in. There was a little girl that looked like Shirley Temple, too. I mean, pristine package. She did the curtsy, and she was just perfect. I would have kick her in the face. So cute. And he looked at her, and she did her little song and dance thing, and her mother was just standing right next to her, saying, here's our doctor, we love her so much. Stand up straight. And he was like, you're a very gorgeous little girl. Mom, you've done a fantastic job. She goes, thank you, because you don't understand. You've done such a good job. She's concrete. I can't do anything with her. And the mom grabbed her daughter and left. And like yelling and scolding her. It's like, no, you're the problem, not her. And God knows how high that therapy bill is for that child. And so he looks at me and literally just said, turn left, turn right, smile, how are you doing? Good. Boom. That was it. Off of that, he goes, Troy, you are the consummate performer. And I said, thank you. He goes, you don't understand. That's not a compliment. When you hear the phrase, the whole world is a stage, you take that literally. You don't know when to turn off. And I went, oh my God, he's right. I'm 17 years old, okay? It took me as many years as I was alive when I heard those words to process what he actually meant. And it's not about when you get on here, you turn on, and when you get down there, you turn off. It's that you never flip the switch. There is no on, there is no off. Just be. And the reason why people like me feel the need to have a switch is because there's a deficiency inside of us that says, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I have to do something. I have to put on a show. I have to make you believe that I'm really talented. Do you like me now? As opposed to going, this is me. If you don't like me, cool. And as you get older, you have this circle of friends, and as you get older, those circle of friends get smaller and smaller and smaller. Because if you have a garden, you have to choose. This may be the worst metaphor in this room, by the way. I say just bear with me. But if you have a garden, you have to choose what you're going to grow. You can't grow every type of veg under the world. You have to go, I'm going to do cabbage, I'm going to do turnips, I'm going to do radish, I'm going to do beans, I'm going to do something. But you have to choose because the soil that you're given, the plot of land that you're given will only sustain a certain amount of things. You can't grow beautifully. You can grow like really diminutive pissant veg if you want, or you can grow beautiful tomatoes because everything that you have, every nutrient you have is going to feed that. So as you get older, if you start finding that certain friends just kind of drop off, don't look at that as, how have I let this friend go? People move in and out of your life, just like seasons. It's okay. It is harder to break up with a friend than it is a girlfriend or boyfriend. Because there's almost like this known thing that when you get into a relationship, this is going to go one of two ways. And varying degrees of those one of two ways. And that's the other thing. If you're in a relationship, or if you've just gotten out of a relationship, and that relationship has ended for whatever reason, more than likely you've said these words or asked yourself this question: why did it fail? Every one of us has asked that question of ourselves at least once. If you haven't, you will soon, because that's life. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, she's crying on the phone. She was 5-6 years in this relationship. She told this guy before one. She goes, I just don't understand why every relationship I've ever had has failed. And this light bulb went off for me. And I said, it didn't. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. How many relationships are you supposed to have that succeed? And define what success is. Is that marriage? Is that together for the rest of the world, or for the rest of the time, and the kids, and the house? What does success mean? If you can't define success, how can you define failure? And it's not that it failed, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which is to be in your life for this season. It's like milk. Bear with me. I am paranoid about expiration dates. The sell-by date is not a suggestion. It is the difference between nutrition and poison. And even the day before, I look at that milk sideways. So think of relationships as having an expiration date. It's okay. You bought the milk, you knew going in. At one point, even on the day, this is when it was going to go bad. And what we do a lot of times in our life, I think, is we continue to chug that milk past the expiration date and wonder why we're sick. You get to choose when you go, oh, it's past your expiration date. Set that person free, set yourself free, and be open for the next source of nutrition that's going to come into your life. Because eventually what you'll do is you will find the magic milk that has no expiration date. But don't look for the magic milk. And don't make this milk to wipe off the expiration date thinking it's the magic milk. Just be patient. It'll come to you, and it's fine. It took me 36 years to find mine. So, it's okay. Shut up. Sounds like it's like, I just went through a breakup! So anyway, it's understand, again, that's the reason why I think I'm finally comfortable in my own skin on a stage or off of it, is because I've done away with the switch. I don't need the switch anymore. It hurts me. It's false to be turned on. And there's times when, yesterday, I felt like, oh my God. Two. Yesterday, I felt horrible in the morning. I felt terrible. That's not your problem. So is there a switch? No. There's a difference between a switch and a smile. You can't feel as bad if you're smiling. Stupid cliche. So yesterday I was like, here's the deal. There's people that have traveled. Someone came from Iceland. Are you in this room right now? Cool, awesome. Maybe they're still trying to get here. There's people that traveled from Birmingham, from Manchester to Leicester. I mean, all over to get here. And some of these people came here simply to say hi, shake my hand, and get a picture. I have a tummy ache. Yeah, let that be your hug as you're driving home. So I understand the responsibility because I've been on the other side of the table and I can't wait to meet X. I understand that, and you're nervous, you're shaking, you're like, do you remember in episode 6 when Optimus Prime said to you, I've been that guy before, okay? So, and I'm still that guy too. There's people that I get to meet, that I get to work with, which is really, really cool, that I'm like, oh my God. I remember the first time I did a session with Mark Hamill, the first time I did a session with Kevin Conroy, the first time I did a session with Jim Cummings, the first time, I mean, these are people that I've idolized and still do, and it's never lost on me when I'm sat next to them in a session, and they're like, how you doing today, Troy? I'm like, I'm just gonna be myself, and you were the cause of it. So, I guess my point is if you ever feel yourself having a temptation in any spot in your life to reach for the switch, don't. And sit in the awkwardness. Sit in the fact, you're like, I don't know if I'm enough. The reality is, the lie is that you're not. The reality is, you are. You are enough. And if you're not enough for that person, jog on. Because there's somebody else that needs to be in your life that is. And don't let that person take that person's place. Does that make sense? Cool. I think that was the answer to the first question. By the way, if you've never been in a panel, ever seen a panel with me, this is it. It started. It's like this. There's a lot of people that can sit up here and go, I remember the first time and we'll get to stuff like that too. But there was something that happened to me, and it happened after The Last of Us, where I realized I was fortunate enough to be a part of something that changed people's lives. And that game, if you've ever played it, I'm sorry, it sounds really stupid that a video game changed people's lives. But I know fathers that became better fathers. I know daughters that became better daughters. I know people that became better people because of that game. That is a testament to the work of all of the artists that made that game possible. So I'm a part of that. I'm not the cause of that. I am also a result and a victim of that beautiful curse. I would love to be a part of something like that again. And so when someone gives me a chance to sit up here with someone like you, and you guys are sat here, she's doing great, by the way. If someone gives me the mic, I'm sorry, but I would be remiss and regretful if I didn't at least try to pass on some of the things that I've learned through other people to someone else. Because again, I've sat in that chair, I've sat in that room, and I just needed someone to take a second and tell me that I mattered. Yeah, well, we live in this world right now where we hide behind this glass screen, and with zero effort and zero accountability, we can eviscerate someone's heart with our words. Pick your medium. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. We can literally make someone question whether or not they should be alive because we didn't like the photo of the cupcake they took. Zero accountability. And what it's done to our culture, there we go. What it's done to our culture is somehow we've allowed that to penetrate our consciousness, and we've made that truth. And we start looking at that and go, do I matter? Does anybody care? Am I stupid? Am I ugly? You look fat in that. What does it take for someone to say something like that? Probably the fact that they feel fat. They feel ugly. They feel stupid. They don't feel like they matter. And so they lash out at other people. Some of you guys may be aware of this. I had last year, around June, I'm playing GTA with Travis Williams. There it is. Okay, cool. Travis Travis loves you too. And my brother Foster makes this comment offhand. And we were talking to somebody else who had just done a road show with Bret Michaels. And he said, Bret Michaels looks like Mickey Rourke tried to become Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, by the way, is nowhere near the butt of that joke. If anything, it's Bret Michaels or maybe Mickey Rourke. And I said, oh my God, I'm crying. I can't get to Twitter fast enough. And I tweeted it. And boom goes the internet. And I got called the most vile, putrescent things that were false. They were lies. And it didn't make me question my thought. I was like, it's a funny joke. If you don't like it, and by the way, the most discriminating, prejudiced thing you can do is say, we can't joke about that. Because if we can joke about one thing, we have to be able to joke about everything. Otherwise, we say those people are less. If we can't make a joke about this, then we can't make a joke about that, which is fine. Maybe we should make a joke about anything. But I really believe that we have to be able to laugh, because if we can't laugh at ourselves, and if we can't laugh at other people and have that community, then we're really screwed as a human race. Anyway, and I had to take a look at Twitter and I said, why do I have this? Am I trying to have the conversation, or am I trying to have a conversation? Because if I'm not trying to have the conversation where we really, really connect and we actually say something meaningful into each other's lives that make us better, what am I doing? Tweeting a picture of my cupcake that someone can say, you're stupid, you should kill yourself. Or making a joke and someone saying, you're a trans-misogynistic. That's the fun one. It's like you have to create a word to insult me. So my challenge to you is this. Really examine your heart when it comes to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. What are you putting out there? And if you're not edifying someone, and I went on a rant. I went on a rant one time against David Cage, who did Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. And I look back at the futile, pubescent, pointless ramblings of an insecure person who thought that people cared what he thought about David Cage. And it was so bad, I got called into the principal's office of Sony. Shit you not. And it was the head of the marketing team, and they were like, shut it down now. We're family, and we don't talk about family like that. And you're absolutely right. And I had to sign a waiver. I had to say that I would never do that again. I mean, this is like a big deal. And Sony's been really good to me. So I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me. But I had to go back and examine my timeline, my Twitter feed. And I had to go and examine, if I only have I hope they never get rid of the 140 characters, because to me as a writer, it's a really good exercise. If there's not a thought that you can summate in 140 characters or less, maybe you shouldn't put it out there. So if you have 140 characters, it's kind of the same thing I said earlier, where you have 480 months. What are you going to do with your life? What is worth one of those 480 or less? Because the reality is you don't necessarily have 480, you could have one or less. So if you have 140 characters, what are you doing with those 140 characters? Are you helping someone to have a better day? Are you helping them to be a better person? Or are you telling someone that it won't matter? And every time you say something negative, with no accountability, with no conversation, with someone not being able to look back at me and go, well, hold on, let's talk about that. Why do you feel that way? Dumb, stupid. Shirt was stupid. What'd you wear it for? If you're not doing something to go, can I make your life better? Can I somehow, it sounds really cheesy, but can I give you a cuddle through a text? Then maybe you shouldn't send it. And maybe you need to take a day off of Twitter. I mean, not just tweeting, I mean checking. And what it forced me to do, when I think it was off for like 6 months or something like that, what it forced me to do is, instead of broadcasting a brilliant thought that I thought I had to the entire world, I got to share it with one person. And my relationships around me grew because I wasn't trying to make a garden full of every kind of veg, I was really paying attention to my tomatoes and my beans and my cabbage. Make sense? I brought it back full circle. All right, so that's my bit. I'm gonna stop talking.
It's perfect you didn't.
But let me say one more. That was my
So who was actually here yesterday for Troy at any point? Okay, so if we can just do a little bit of rehashing for the people who have seen you today with your acoustics, so if we can talk about your